Hi everybody, how are you doing today? So a question that I was asked recently was, can naturopathy help with perimenopause? And of course, my answer is yes, 100%. I want to tell you how and how it helps in perimenopause in this quick video. So as you know, I'm a naturopath and I work with women from puberty through to menopause on a whole host of hormonal conditions. I believe in my heart of hearts that all women have the power to become the architects of their own hormonal landscape. It just takes understanding what's happening with those hormones internally by reading the symptoms. And also, in some cases, doing the lab testing. So first up, the question, can naturopathy help with perimenopause? So naturopathy, if you think about it in terms of botanical medicine, so we're just using herbal medicines, absolutely 100% can help with the symptoms of perimenopause. I'll tell you how, because I've also experienced this myself as a woman who's going through perimenopause right now, kind of on the brink of menopause. So naturopathy uses herbal medicines to be able to influence how the hormones are balanced. And with hormonal balance, it's a bit of an ongoing thing. So you're never quite getting to one point in life when all of the hormones are perfectly balanced, but you have a way of living and a way of managing your hormones that gives you a symptom-free life because they are pretty much in balance all the time. So that's what we're aiming for. And the herbal medicines can alleviate the symptoms of hormones which have become too excessive and dominant, or they can help to lift certain hormones. Now, in perimenopause, in the very beginning stages, progesterone is the first hormone to start dropping. So you can use herbal medicine in, say, the late 30s through to the mid 40s to start lifting the levels of progesterone. And if you're wondering, do I have this sort of low progesterone profile? You're going to see it in terms of your bleeds because your bleeds will become heavier each month. And also you'll become more anxious, irritable, or maybe even hostile at some time. And then as you get more towards the middle of perimenopause, the estrogen starts to really kick in. And at this stage, for many women who haven't been working on progesterone, the estrogen is now unopposed because normally progesterone will rein back in. So you can end up with these symptoms like very sore breasts, a lot of weight gain around the center of the body, difficulty sleeping, these symptoms that are representative of having too much estrogen. But it's not that you want to flush all your estrogen out because you don't need that. It's more that you want to get the progesterone back to balance the estrogen naturally. That's what you're aiming for. That's where you would come to someone like me. The other symptoms of perimenopause that can start to creep in are the night sweats and hot flashes, and those sort of vasomotor symptoms are the more obvious ones. But the ones that a lot of people don't talk about enough really is the less obvious signs of perimenopause. So recurrent styes and eye infections is one. Getting really, really tired and suddenly, you're usually a morning person, but you can't really get up in the morning and feel very good at the moment. So there's that. There's aches and pains in the joints is another really common one. So knees start hurting. You're doing your normal walking, but you're finding that as you're going downhill now, the knees are starting to hurt. There can be this very weird sensation of having creepy crawlies on your skin, which are not there. It's totally hormonal. It's like you feel these things creeping on your leg and you look down and you wonder what it is, or maybe on your back or your arms. And it's just the skin changes that are occurring with the changes in hormones. So it's like, I call it creeping ants syndrome. It's kind of like that. Another one is frozen shoulder, which affects a huge proportion of perimenopausal women, and it's chronic stiffness all around this area here. So we tend to think maybe we've just been sitting at the screen too long, but never rule out the possibility of perimenopause. And when I work with women on these sorts of lesser known symptoms of perimenopause, it's amazing the difference that you can see in just a month of treatment. Sleep improves, bowel movements become more regular, breast symptoms go away, so you're not getting really sore breasts that are uncomfortable to put a bra on, for example, before a bleed. The bleed amount reduces and the cycle duration becomes more normalized. That's another thing that happens in perimenopause. They can suddenly get really closer together with cycles, or they can become really spread apart. Now, there is also the really profound anxiety that can set in with perimenopause, which is kind of natural, I think, because it's this life phase we're going through and everything's changing and we feel quite vulnerable with that. And herbal medicine and naturopathy can calm you down, help you get better sleep, help your adrenal system to gear up and take on the hormonal load, because it does that after menopause. And it can strengthen your adrenal system so that when you get into stressful situations, your adaptation is much quicker and much more effective, and you're able to manage those stresses really well. And I find that often it's one of the most common feedbacks that I get from my clients, that they're able to manage stress much better, along with the fact that they're not getting as many of the aches and pains, sore breast symptoms, cycles are now back to normal, and they're not getting things like crazy sugar cravings before a bleed. So in summary, naturopathy can definitely help with perimenopause. It's a journey and it is different for each woman. The research on herbs such as St. John's wort, like cohosh, licorice, tartary, there are just so many herbs that we're finding useful in perimenopause for women, and more studies coming out to tell us what's happening with the fungal hormones in perimenopause, what's changing with estrogen and progesterone, and how is that affecting our bones and our joints and our mental capacity and cognition. So all of this is supporting us as naturopaths to be able to give really good, effective and safe treatment to our perimenopausal clients. I hope that filled in some gaps for you. Have a beautiful day, and use the contact details below if you do want to get in touch. You can book a session with me anytime that you like. I have clients all over the world. I consult online and in person in Sydney as well. Bye for now.